and 2020, he served Mount Kenya University as acting Vice Chancellor. And he has also coordinated a number of local and international interdisciplinary projects at Mount Kenya University. He is also an overseer of the Graduate Enterprise Academy, which is a graduate and youth empowerment forum at Mount Kenya University. 3 of his outstanding grant projects, which I managed to collect from his CV, included the Student Training for Entrepreneurship Promotion. In short, it's called a STEP. Will be centered on towards the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal, SGD 2030, the way forward for sub-Saharan Africa, and the specific area of focus is on inequality, reducing inequalities. So with this short speech, I would now like to invite you all to participate in this lecture, and I would also like to take this opportunity to invite our guest speaker, Professor Peter Wanderi. Karibu sana, na naomba tumpigie makofi na tusimame kumpokea. Asante sana. Karibu sana, Professor. The podium is yours. You have our academia, administrative staff, and our students who are eagerly waiting to hear from you. Karibu sana.
Asante sana wakati Itia anamsaidia kuweka vizuri. Want to remind you, kwa Kiswahili sasa tuelewane vizuri. We are live on YouTube and you are live also on Zoom link. If you have your friends, you can remind them that they can access this beautiful conference on our YouTube channel, online TV, and also on our Zoom link that we've been sharing in our groups. Please, you can share the information and then people can join us here. Tumpigie makofi Profesa tena wakati mambo yanakwenda. Nafikiri wengi tumeshangaa kuona 84 ni degree. Wakati sisi wengine sisi kama wazazi walikuwa washachumbiana. Mungu ni mwema. But we are here together harnessing this beautiful knowledge from Professor. Welcome,
Thank you.
Professor.
Thank you very much. So to the headship of the institution of the TIA Tanzania Institute of Accountancy, my friend Professor William Palengio, who have come to know very closely the last 2-3 weeks, and to the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Dr. Irene Kasabala, who I was also lucky to have had an invitation from her 2 years ago to come and do an MOU, which we signed when she was in the acting capacity. To the members of the university management, majority of whom I have interacted with, both when I was here and also today. And to my colleague, Madam Lucy Gatiba, who is also working with me on sustainable development goals. to all the academic and technical staff who are here this morning, dear students, dear ladies and gentlemen, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. It is a sincere pleasure to be here this morning. When I was invited to come last year for the conference, and I had confirmed, but eventually for various reasons, I was not able to come. I felt very sorry. And I wanted to start by appreciating the institution, because at that time, the institution had offered to sponsor my air ticket and stay here. So my failure to come had nothing to do with the payment or capacity to come. Unfortunately, because of commitment in the university, it coincided with our graduation ceremony, and from my position as a principal corporate services, I work closely with the VC. And I realized that anytime I was supposed to be at the conference, even online, there was something to be done. So I failed to come. And I promised the institution I will come not on their sponsorship, but on the university's our university sponsorship. And we are here today for that. And I acknowledge the presence also of my colleague, Madam Lucy, who works with me on what I do for the university at the United Nations Academic Impact for SDG number 10 on reduced inequalities. So I appreciate this opportunity so much, and I am grateful. So I hope you are able to, good, thank you, that's better, that's better. Whoever has managed that, that's good now, I'm happier that way. So I wish to take this opportunity, first of all, to take you through the content of the discussion. I needed to talk about that appreciation for being given the opportunity to come. I only proposed, and the management of the university took it very well. I was overwhelmed, my colleagues were also overwhelmed, and we are very happy. We don't take it for granted. We are also happy that we have this relationship. And I bring greetings from MKU to each one of you, Mount Kenya University, what I'll be talking about in the next few minutes. I'll also talk to you about Mount Kenya University. It's good to know who your partner is. And then I'll get into the actual discussion of the day about sustainable development goals. We'll also move into together now. We'll move into United Nations Academic Impact Office and talk about the membership and SDGs hub universities. And we also talk of justification for SDGs. We shall conclude with a few model cases where we want to be. Then I also mentioned that this morning, the last one will be a call for abstracts that I shared with the members of the management, where we are saying we have a conference in March, end of March, and we all could participate. So talking about MKU briefly, Mount Kenya University is a private and chartered university, and the founder, Professor Simon Gisharu, I want to talk of the profile of the founder. He was inducted into the World Entrepreneurs of the Year Hall of Fame in Monaco, France in 2014, and was East African Entrepreneur of the Year in 2014. We are saying the university is founded on entrepreneurial ground. It is private and it manages itself, everything, no capitation from the government, but we work a lot with the partners, both in the government and across the borders, in the region and internationally. So I'm here because this is a great opportunity and important task to do. I believe the presentation will be shared later on, because I note there are people who are able to see the screen, but the ones who I think here, they are not closer to me, they are not able to see what is on the screen. And the screens there do show the regional spread of the university. Maybe, if you allow me kindly, would we be able to help them to get, or they're able to see this screen? Are they able to see in? Ah, thank you. Because it was also good to know that, because as a teacher, I was wondering whether you are only seeing me. So if you have access to others, I'm okay, thank you. Because I could only see two there, but thank you for that, and congratulations for that engagement. So that is the spread of the university presence in the region. We are basically in Kenya in a big way, in almost all town, or every other town. But we are in Rwanda. Our university has a campus in Rwanda which has a sitting vice chancellor and about to become independent anytime. But we also have our presence in Somalia and Somaliland. Tanzania, we are happy because although we don't have an office as such, we find ourselves operating through partnerships. For instance, during the graduation ceremony of last year, the Secretary General of East African Community was our chief guest. And therefore, we have that relationship. And that is why we also here to ensure that we have a partnership relationship. We signed the MOU 2 years ago, and it needs to be strengthened. And that is why we are here. I therefore get closer to my presentation that I want to talk about what we call Sustainable Development Goals. And Sustainable Development Goals, I will skip this slide to first of all talk of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030, point towards elimination of poverty. They point towards education for all, food security. There are 17 goals that talk about everything that needs to be done for humanity. I do not know whether we are aware of the Tanzania vision. Initially it was Vision 2025, now it is going to Vision 2050. Anybody aware about Tanzania Vision 2025 and Vision 2050? At the East African community, we have the East African Community Vision 2050. At African level, we have AU Vision 20, they call it Agenda 2063. And the Sustainable Development Goals support all these visions and agenda. However, the possibility of achieving the 17 SDGs by 2030 needs a team strategy involving everybody. And that is why I'm here. The United Nations Academic Impact Office in New York oversees, amongst other things, the activities of 17 universities across the world, which are referred to as academic hubs, universities. These hubs are appointed by the United Nations, different universities across the world, given the responsibility of being a hub. I will come back to this point soon. At this point, we are saying, how would we want to raise the awareness of SDGs? How do we raise the awareness? Because as a hub, we have the responsibility of raising the awareness of SDGs. We use simple questioning strategic approaches to create awareness. And at this point, I take a break. I hope everybody has a paper and a pen. If you don't have, please don't hesitate. If you have your phone, it will do, because you can write some notes on your phone. So nobody has an excuse that you'll not answer the question I'm giving. The question will be kept to yourself. I'll give you the answer, and you'll be to yourself. For the purpose of personal confidence I want you not to lose your confidence in yourself. You will keep the answer to yourself. And after that, I can close the laptop and say my business is done. But I might continue. Because I will repeat what I said in case somebody was not listening or did not something missed, you missed something, that we are here to advance the activities of United Nations Academic Impact Office, or United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are 17. And these goals, so that they can be known by everybody, the United Nations Office has appointed universities, 17 universities across the globe, and MKU, we are one of them, given the opportunity to champion SDG number 10, which is, I'll tell you about it later on. And we also challenged to champion the achievement of SDGs, all SDGs, 17 of them. But in order for us to help United Nations, to help our government, to help UN, to help East African Community Office in achieving the 17 development goals, we have to start by creating awareness. And in creating awareness, the main thing is to know the goals. You may not do anything else, but you have to know the goals. For Christians, the basic thing is, do you know the 10 Commandments? Here we are talking of, do you know the 17 goals? So all where you are, yourself, everybody, to yourself, and don't look at your friend's work, to yourself, please list down the 17 goals, the way you know them. Don't check online, because those ones who are using telephone and everything and mobile phone, don't check anything online. Just pick it from your head. In any case, the exam results will be kept to you by yourself. List down the 17 development goals. Please don't communicate. Don't check online. List down the 17 development goals. After this, I can say I have achieved my purpose, because I have made you be aware of the 17 development goals. I can see a few people talking to each other. Can I move on? Can I give you the answers so that you can appraise your performance? The next slide is on giving the answers. Now, you can see, I want you to rate yourselves, know how much you achieved. And I don't want to ask anybody if you got 100%, keep it to yourselves. First one is no poverty. Poverty eradication across the world. We have a lot of poverty in this country. We have a lot of poverty in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya, where I come from. We have a lot of poverty. Yeah, there is a lot of poverty. The issue is, how are we doing, what are we doing to eliminate poverty in the communities? Everybody has an obligation. For those who pray, including Muslims and Christians and Hindus, do you pray that people can help the poor persons to be higher in their status? Even that is good enough. Policymakers, like Professor, do we do policies that help in eliminating poverty and upgrading, appraising the status? Elimination of hunger. You know, the Horn of Africa today, people are dying because of hunger. What shall we do to eliminate hunger? The UN, in its second SDG, goal number 2, talks of elimination of hunger. Goal number 3, good health and well-being. I came with Dr. Maiga, who tells me that he's a statistician in I'm unable to pronounce an epidemiology, something like that, is it? And that is to do with human health. So already, Tanzania Institute of Accountancy has somebody who is working in the area of human health. Are we aware about it? What has he done in that human health in the last 1 year contribute to the achievement of that goal? Goal number 4, quality education. That's what we are getting here. Goal number 5, gender equality. When we talk of women empowerment, no, there are situations where men need an empowerment. In a community where I come, we have started talking of looking at the boy child, because now the game has changed. The boy child where I come from is threatened. Not for anything, but because of various challenges, which I will not mention here. So, and in communities across the world, gender, whether you're talking of whichever gender, we need to think of that equality. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Provision of clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. Economic growth. I'm requesting that this will be shared, the presentation will be shared, and we can even make been told to do a paper that can also be circulated. But even the slides the way they are, so that you are able to, everybody, even the students, can pick it. And number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequality. That is the hub that we serve at Mount Kenya University. We are the hub for reduced inequality. So I'm here to talk about SDG number 10, but you cannot talk of one without talking of that. In any case, reduced inequalities are serviced by education, good health care, elimination of poverty, elimination of hunger, all to ensure that we are working together. Number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Kwetu, they banned the use of polythene paper bags, the production and the use. And even when you have some plastic material like the bottles we have here, which are also everywhere, even in Kenya and across Africa, how do we dispose of them? Because this could be a big challenge, and we have not been thinking about it. You go to some towns, you find they have clogged and blocked the sewer lines in towns. So this is because we did not think of the disposal. Number 13, climate action. You have heard a lot about it. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. 17, partnerships to achieve the goals. Assignment. What is your score? But keep it to yourself. But please, 1 minute for you to think about it. What is your score? I give you 1 minute. Have a minute to think of your score. And if you are bold enough, you can tell me. For instance, I know if you got 80%, why wouldn't you want to say, I scored 80% or 100%? If you feel challenged that you got 10% and you want to own it up, you have a chance to own it up. But I'm not venturing into that. Keep it to yourself, because we are here to create awareness about sustainable development goals. The United Nations believes that, you see the screens, please let's go back to the screen. The top that's showing the 17 sustainable goals to transform our world. That these goals are the ones that will transform the world. In every country, we talk of a vision that transforms the world, our country, to the next level. When we talk of Agenda 2063 for AU, it's that in Africa, we will be at the same level with all the other countries across the globe. So UN, they started by what you know, Millennium Development Goals, that were supposed to be achieved by 2015. Unfortunately, they were not achieved. So they changed to Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved by 2030. As we get closer, they are championing everybody and calling upon everybody. First of all, know them. The least you can do is to pray for the world to achieve these goals. But know them. And if you are in a situation of policy making, like professor here, or even teaching, talk about them. Even as a student, acknowledge that these goals and get to know your cause. And when you go to see all the people who are sick, which is this goal that you are supporting? So let us all have that awareness. And this is my presentation today. As I move forward, I want to request to know how much. Maybe you tell me, you can be telling me how much time it's left. Pardon? Okay, thank you. So at this time, I want to go back to a slide that I left where I'm talking about that Mount Kenya University is the United Nations Academic Impact for SDG number 10, which is reduce inequalities. It will serve this provision for 3 years between 2021 and May 2024. If you log into the link that is shown there, what you'll see is the provision that is on the academic impact here. This is Mount Kenya University, and this, the United Nations Impact says we are champions or the hub for reduced inequalities. As the hub for reduced inequalities, we are saying our roles will lie behind our capacity to answer the following questions. These questions, and there could be 17 of them, reach out and relate to the SDGs. How do we create employment? Let alone, one of the partnerships that Professor mentioned about is about helping the students to create mindset change, that you too, you can employ yourself, even as you go to look for jobs. And when you get started, you realize you can do it very well, and even create a job for yourself and for others. So this way, you are serving one of the goals on poverty eradication, because you are giving people a livelihood. How well are we working in providing for food security, for medical care? And you ask that question for all the 17 SDGs. If wherever you are able to say what you are doing, then we are one step ahead. And this is what I'm saying. We must first of all create awareness about SDGs 2030 among all stakeholders, leaving no one behind. So at least all of us seated here, we are aware of SDGs 2030. And we expect that you go and do as it pertains to the information you have achieved. Thereafter, we shall ensure as much as possible that everyone has a role to play. No one is too weak or too poor to contribute. Even the beggar on the street will